Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, we are going to be working on jazzing up this beautiful little die set. Now this one's a bit of a cracker. I picked this one up and purchased it because it is often half price. It is right now as well at the time of filming, but I will link it down below. It's a gorgeous little set, but also it's quite... without being too basic, it's beautifully basic, basically, because this one you can mix and match, you can change up the colors, you can change up the patterns, lots of things that you can do with sort of a really simple, basic die set, and this is actually a big plus. So for simple coloring, I'm going to be using Distress Oxide sprays, but here's the secret. I actually own, I think, 5 Distress Oxide sprays, but I chose to get the primary colors. So I have a blue, I actually have a pink rather than a red. So this one here is going to be, I think I have a Saltwater Taffy that was a freebie, but I have picked raspberry, and then I have the mustard seed and tumbled glass. I can't remember if I said that, but anyhow, basically I have a yellow, a blue, and pinks, and this way I can essentially make quite a few colors. I don't have the space, nor the budget, nor really the inclination to get into wanting a full set of something else. I do have the Oxide re-inkers because the Oxides are one of my main inks that I invested in, so I can make my own sprays if need be. I did want to try them. I absolutely did cave, but this is what I did. I decided to just purchase these ones. So when I'm making the orange, really, you can just see that I'm spraying the yellow and then the pink, and that will give me the orange. For the stems here, I'm spraying the yellow, and then I'm spraying the tumbled glass blue, and this will give me the green. So even though I have all these colors here, it's really made out of 3. So that is a really fun technique. Of course, you can absolutely color these in. You could cut them out of colored cardstock and then give them some dimension with ink as well, adding ink on top. Now to jazz these up a little further, I want to add a bit of a pattern, and I am actually going to get out some background stamps. This is something I sometimes feel I don't use enough for how much they cost to invest in. So anyhow, that's okay. Realizing it is half the battle, and I shall use them. Even though it's not for an entire background, it's still making good use of these beautiful little patterns. So really, I just add a little bit of ink to the square that I need. This one is called Cobblestone, I believe. A really, really fun technique that can be done with this one, where you sort of you stamp another image and then stamp this one over top. It's a whole nother video. Actually, I've got several videos on my channel, but nonetheless, I'm using it for texture today. I have just taken all of the flower heads. I'm basically either taking the same Oxide ink that I sprayed with. So for example, for the picked raspberry, I just take the picked raspberry ink and then ink it up, put the ink down onto the background stamp using that, because it's going to stamp a little brighter. Some of these I did dab off as well when I sprayed them, so that I got a little less bright version of what they are. This one here is the mustard seed. This background stamp is called Old Letter from Simon Says Stamp. Any sort of beautiful handwriting. I'm just looking for sort of, everyday patterns here. This one is called Stippled Circles. I don't want anything in particular. I don't want anything that you can kind of recognize, but have a look through your stamps and just see what you think you could use, because you can actually use like even a postage letter, stamp that on it. You can take like the splatter from one of my new stamp sets. You could take that and stamp that on them. You can really take so many different things, but I was sorting through my background stamps, and so that is what made me grab them out today as well. Now I'm taking this beautiful and well-loved, but we like a good well-loved item, Deckle Edge die set here. I'm going to die cut out a couple of these pieces. Again, these are some of the colors that I used. This is going to be the mustard seed again, and some spiced marmalade, and I'm just going to splatter this background here. I often fold a little piece of paper in half and then leave it one side sort of up in the air to protect my other work surface. I know that there are splatter boxes and all the good things out there that I could also create, but I don't have a whole lot of space. I have now just shifted into a smaller space as well. But we can make it work every time, and I'm going to layer some of these up, putting a little bit of foam tape. These ones pop together. There's sort of like a couple of little centers that go in here. Again, I just used different combinations of the pink and the yellow to spray the insides here. One is orange and one is going to be the actual yellow, and then this is pretty much what we get. So really easy to put together some different little pieces, and this is kind of just the beginning of what you can do. This is the basic sort of jazzed up version, adding in some text, adding in some backgrounds, adding in some splatter, and then we can also do things like adding in embossing on top. We could have, you could use an embossing folder for your background as well. You could have actually stamped your background in a really light background stamp. That would have been fun too. We could have done some paper piecing on top of these. That would be fun too, to add in some more layers and more dimension to these flowers. Even though they already have like centers and things that cut separately, we could do definitely some more paper piecing. But just so many options with a really basic set. So I hope to do another one of these very shortly, but again, using some different options. I mean, you could die cut these out of some music note paper. You could die cut it out of some gel prints. It would look stunning. So lots of fun options here. These leaves were a touch small for a touch big for my little bouquet that I was making. So when in doubt, we just cut them smaller ourselves and nobody needs to know. And then I do want to make sure that there is space for a little sentiment over top here. And I do think some little twine or some burlap ribbon or some sort of ribbon or thread or something like that to hold all of these together. I do have a lot of color going on, but you can see that we've pretty much with the flowers stuck to the primary colors anyhow. And so they always are going to go together nicely. This is a little bit of black. I think this one might be from Simon Says Stamp. I do believe it's a nice, it might be the Lawn Fawn one, in fact. I'll figure it out and then I'll link it down below. Just creates a really nice little gorgeous bow, not too big, not too bulky as well. When I have got elements like this and I just have the sort of plain white background, although there is the splatter on there, I do feel like you need to have something to break that background, particularly if we're going to put it on a white card base. So in order to do that, I'm going to use some of the yellow, the exact same yellow mustard seed, and I have the same sized Deckle edge piece of cardstock, the same size that I did for the actual background. I'm going to whip in a little bit of the orange around the edge here. This is an oldie but a goodie kind of technique that we used to do. And then I'm going to offset that behind this one. And I just think that that takes this one to the next level. Very, very simple. And then I'm going to add a little bit of glue on the back, pop this down flat because I already have a little bit of dimension behind some of the flower petals. I used a little bit of foam tape, and also the little bow is going to cause a little bit of dimension. I always want these to be able to go through the mail, so sometimes I'm conscious of that. Sometimes I can go all out if I know that they're going to be hand delivered, and then other times I like to have choice in my little stash for people to choose from if they definitely are going to mail them. So then I am going to add a sentiment. This is my printable sentiments 2. These are available on my website for downloading and printing out. Now, there are some free versions. In fact, there's a few free versions that you can absolutely grab and print out your sentiments, and you can, make them all sorts of different sizes, 50%, 80%, change it all up. I make all of these I've designed to be super easy to fussy cut because that is something that I keep in mind when choosing myself. If you are a pro member of Natasha Foote Creative, then you are going to have access to more of those. There's definitely more there for you, but if you would like to pop on over and you just want the downloads for free, you don't want to do anything else, then there is definitely some great printable sentiment sheets. There's a whole lot of printables actually over there that you can download under the free resources section. So you can head on over to natashafootecreative.com and go and grab those. But I did add some diamond stickles into the center of the flowers. We want to have that little eye-catching shiny moment, but this is going to be this gorgeous little set jazzed up and ready for posting. So I hope that you enjoyed this one. I can't wait to see you next time, and I'll see you then. Bye.